Free Guy has been a movie that tons of video game fans have been waiting for, in particular, how it chooses to answer the question, what would it really be like to be an NPC in a video game? The whole concept kind of chips away at the whole I'm the main character of my life, saying, but what is Free Guy really about? Let's find out as today we're breaking down the plot of Free Guy. Ryan Reynolds plays Guy in this movie, a non-playable character, or NPC, in Free City, which is part of an open-world video game created by Tsunami Games. Guy isn't really privy to this knowledge though, and believes that he is just a normal guy in this world. He's picked up a job as a bank teller and hangs out with his best friend Buddy, who's the bank's security guard. We get a really bizarre look at how Guy lives his day-to-day life here, and Ryan Reynolds really goes all in on the camp. We're next introduced to Molotov Girl, or at least that's what she's known as in Free City. In real life, she's Millie Rusk, who is here in Free City on a mission. Millie's attempting to find evidence that she is the rightful owner of the game's source code, which has been taken by the head developer of Tsunami Games, Antoine Havachelic. Guy goes about his day, but Molotov Girl, with her deep understanding of the game world, gets Guy to deviate from his programming by singing his favorite song. Guy responds by snatching the sunglasses off of a player, robbing the bank, and wandering off into the street with a new outlook on things. Instead of being an NPC, Guy finally gets his chance at being a player character. Because Guy stole a player character's glasses, he's free to see the world as a player would instead of like an NPC. Guy explores Free City through a completely new point of view and runs to try and catch up with Molotov Girl and figure out exactly what's going on here. Guy eventually tracks Molotov Girl down at the stash, a place where the source code she needs is located. The only problem though is that the stash is heavily guarded and it isn't easy to get in. They able to break in, and Molotov Girl, thinking that Guy is just some new player to the game, advises him to level up before taking it on again. We then get to see an absolutely hilarious montage of Guy completing missions by completing good deeds across Free City. All of his work helps him level up real quick and stand above the other players. Guy gets so good in fact that he gains a reputation around the Free City player base as Blue Shirt Guy. Guy, thrilled at how far his life has come from just being a lowly bank teller, steals a pair of sunglasses off of a player character during another robbery at the bank. Guy offers the glasses to his friend Buddy, who isn't convinced that it's such a good idea. Guy's shocked that Buddy would decline living the life he's thrilled to, but goes back to Molotov Girl, now leveled up enough to take on the stash for a second time. Molotov Girl and Buddy meet up, and Millie is absolutely puzzled that Guy attempts to kiss her, mostly because that option isn't available in the game. Guy's forced to tell her that he isn't some player and is instead an NPC, something that shocks her. The co-head developer of the game, Keys, emerges once Millie's alone to inform Millie that Guy is not only an NPC, but one that has some history with her too. Guy's self-awareness was caused not only by the fact that Millie played his favorite song, but because a piece of legacy code from Millie and Keys' original game together, called Life Itself, allowed it to be. This revelation is even more bizarre for Millie since that AI code was her idea, and so now Guy falling for her is partly due to her design. Keys designed this code not only what may happen, but it was Millie who approved it, and so both of them have a reason to be curious about what's going on with Guy. There's no time for that now. If you thought that was it, then boy, it's time to buckle up because there's more. Guy's actually been making everyone that he has interacted with more self-aware as well, which is why the studio's deciding to wipe the server and release Free City 2 instead. Guy's romantic feelings for Millie created a fully self-aware AI world. Now isn't that kind of crazy? Millie sure thinks so because she takes this info that she learned from Keys and tells Guy, who unsurprisingly is not thrilled about being told everything he feels is predestined. Guy's devastated that his whole time he wasn't actually tasting freedom, but just an extension of his coding, and because of this, he breaks off things with Millie despite his strong feelings for her. Alone and with a ton to think about, Guy seeks out his best friend Buddy for some advice and maybe some help on deciding what's next. Buddy is able to cheer Guy up, which is good because he's the key to making sure that Free World doesn't get wiped by Tsunami Games. Buddy helps Guy understand that there is more more to reality than maybe what meets the eye, which is good enough for Guy to spring into action. Guy is able to, with the help of Buddy, come up with a plan that will get Millie the evidence that she's been searching for this whole time. Buddy's relationship with the rest of the guards, as well as his connections, help open up a chance for Guy at the stash. Guy's able to use his fame to enter into the stash as well, since the player that currently owns it is a huge fan of the famous player Guy. Guy's popularity is also a curse though, as Antoine back at Tsunami Games feels that Blue Shirt Guy threatens the launch of Free City 2. He orders a reboot, which causes Guy to temporarily lose access to his memories, something that I don't have to tell you is kind of a big deal. Millie comes in clutch though and kisses Guy, restoring his memories because of how deep-rooted their love is in his code. Guy's able to recall the location of the island, and it turns out that it's the only part of Free World that contains part of life itself, and thus also proof of Keys and Millie's code. The two travel to the island, and Antoine is on a mission to make sure that they don't make it. He sends in Dude, a version of Guy for Free World 2, who is large, imposing, and lays a beating on Guy. That is until Guy thinks strategically and places the HUD sunglasses on Dude, distracting him long enough for Guy to reach the island. Free City then gets destroyed when Antoine destroys the real-life servers with a fire axe, despite the shouts not to by what's left of his staff. Millie offers Antoine a deal. She will abandon the lawsuit and leave him the profits of Free World and Free World 2 for the intellectual property, a deal that he accepts. Unfortunately for Antoine, he was never the reason for Free World succeeded in the first place, and with Keys and Millie's talents no longer available, Free World 2 immediately fails at launch, a colossal failure. Antoine is eventually arrested as well for all of the shady stuff that he's been doing all this time, meaning that Keys and Millie get to have their cake and eat it too. The two work on a new game called Free Life, and they make it using what's left of the code from their original games. Guy, Buddy, Dude, and more NPCs are brought over and put into the game, and are free to live a much better life, with the AI code expanding and giving them tons of freedom. Guy meets up with Millie again and tells her that the legacy code on him was actually a love letter from Keys to her. This makes everything click with Millie, who ends up sharing a kiss, finally realizing the feelings that they had for one another. With the threats gone and Guy free to live a life of his own and not according to some sort of old code, things are looking up for the future of our favorite NPC in the free world. His friend Buddy and a more finished version of Dude are also here, as well as tons of new NPCs that will grow and evolve just like we saw Guy do. In the real world, Antoine is out and no longer able to benefit off of stealing the code from Millie. She and Keys are able to live their lives together and make games again, as well as tinker with their newest project, Free World. All in all, everything works out pretty well for everyone, and the credits on Free Guy roll. That's about it for the video. What did you guys think of Free Guy? Did you love it? Do you have to be a gamer kind of person to enjoy it? Let me know in the comments down below, and have a great day.